Today's video is going to be me showing the making of, or the project file of, my latest song as of October the 28th. Voyage, Future House, which is a genre I don't normally make, so it's quite fun to try this out. And the first part I'm going to be showing is the intro of the song. This whole 8-bar intro section here. So slow bass here. It's quite a simple technique really. So a respace, run through a low pass filter. This one I've got a slow modulation on the low pass filter's frequency, only a tiny bit, but as you see it sort of rises. Another cool thing is to have the mono and legato on the always the portamento, about halfway, which means when you go between notes here, it will have quite a cool slide effect. If I turn that off, that's not cool. And the mono just means it can only have one note at a time, which creates a slide. Otherwise it'd play like a chord effect. And on this one I have a little bit of tube distortion and a compressor. And for the intro I also included this chord progression here, which you hear quite a lot throughout the song, including variations. The respace is playing the bass notes of the chords. And these are just some pretty simple chords here. Just ascending, and then it goes down at the end. And that's got two layers. That's got a pluck, which is just a preset, and a pad, which is another preset. Serum, I only really use Serum, to be honest. And here we have filtered out the vocal drops from the drop. This one I've just bandpassed it and put a reverb on it with the dry down to about halfway. And we'll get onto the vocal drops in a bit more detail later, but they originate from this Kashmir vocal melody loop thing, which I've also got filtering in the intro, unaltered. And there's a transition effect here. Now moving on to the build-up. It begins with just some effects, and it cuts out the vocal drop that was playing just before. But you can hear the vocal melody a bit better. And just as soon as it starts, you can hear this, which is actually a drum fill I took. I just took out the first bit and looped it for a build snare, along with two more build snare loops. This one's quite static, it's just the same rate. I believe that's also filtering in. And this one is a bit less static. It increases in rate, and it even has some riser in the background, I think. So that helps the build-up feel a bit less boring. And here we also have just a clap in the second half of the build-up. Halfway through the build-up, it introduces a little fill. Oh, it looks like I've misnamed this. I thought this one was the zap fill, but I think this is what I meant by zap fill. This little fill. quite zappy sound. I really like that sound. So it increases, and filtering in during the build up is the drop bass line, which I'll get into in just a second. There's also some pretty cool stuff happening. I had a comment on the song saying I added a bit too much stereo, so I do agree I should probably be a bit more careful with stereo, but I think I did. I got this from a JS car video, I think. Is on the master there's a stereo that I've left untouched, apart from in the build up, where the stereo is just removed. And then it suddenly explodes back into stereo just as the drop hits, making it a bit more cool, like transition wise. Makes it just sort of feel a bit more massive. And also, the field before the drop, there's a cowbell because it's house. This cool thing, I've already talked about that. And then there's just the drop clap. I really like that clap. It's quite like a nice sound. I'm glad I found it. Anyway, so we're going to move on to the drop. And I suppose the first thing I'll talk about is the vocal drops. And I've just got the same loop, which is from this vocal loop from earlier, as I mentioned. Now I just took that, and the song actually started from that job. I was just messing around in FL, and I took that vocal loop, and I put a fruity filter on it. And I don't think I have the automation, but I can kind of show you how it works. That's on track 1, as you can see, I started with it. So now here is a filter, and this is meant to filter things in. But if I just, there's some filtering going on. If I just hit off, damn it, I'll just use another one. So as you can see, if I just, as you can hear, it makes quite a cool sound when I turn it up really fast. So I automated this a bit like that, except with a cool rhythm to it, and it left me with this, which I resampled. This has also got sidechain from me resampling it. But anyway, for the drop, what I did was I took some layers of this. Okay, so the first is just playing the whole time, and it's literally just the original. Then there's led with this at the start, which is basically it's a seventh, but down an octave. So the seventh is 7 semitones up, and it creates what's called a power chord, which is like, to the best of my understanding, I'm not like some music theory genius or anything, but what's happening is it's like perfect seventh of this, which is F. So I guess it would be C, and so that's just creating quite a cool effect. This one's down, and I think this is just, it's the seventh. No, never mind. No, it's a fifth. This is a fifth, and it comes in, creating what's literally, I think this is just a chord actually, and then it turns into this, which is in fact seventh, and then back to the fifth. And I think it progresses as the song goes on. I'm not sure about that. There's just a kick drum, and obviously a clap. This is 2 claps. This one, and another one just to give it a bit more girth. And so as the drop starts, you've got some effects. That's just a down lifter thing. Impact, and This is a crowd loop that keeps playing for the whole drop. And what I've done is I've just shoved a sidechain on, and this gives it just a bit more energy, and it fills out the drop a lot. And I suppose now what oh yeah, also, before I go to the bass line, I took the zap fill from earlier. And I just took the zap from it and I added it just to give a nice little sort of effect, like a laser effect. It's quite cool. Now I guess we can move on to the bass line. This is just the bass line of the chords, but I've also added, as you can see, I've added the seventh, which like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7. That's the seventh. Just Future House uses this a lot. Now, as you'd be able to see, it's playing a rhythm that's off the beat, kinda. Because as you can see, if I've got a sidechain on it that's going 4 on the floor sidechain, and if I just did this, it doesn't really give the note much punch. If I play it off the beat, like, it makes the drop less boring, and also lets you hear like the sort of initial tap sound, maybe, I don't really know what to call it, of the bass. So there's 4 layers going on here to the bass. Yeah, 4 layers. There might be another one later on, I guess. I don't know what that is. I think these are all presets from Cymatics pack, a Future House for Serum Cymatics pack that I bought recently because of the free gift card things they sometimes do. I was able to get a Serum pack from it. Yeah, these are all layers from that pack. So there's this, just give it a bit more of a donk sound than this, which I think is sort of the main dominant sound of the bass. And then there's this one. That's quite cool. Just give it a bit more of like a top sound. And then here's the final one. It's just quite a white noisy number, I guess. So altogether it sounds like this. And differences in the bass. There's that thing again. This song's in F minor, by the way, so it's playing a bass line with some extra notes, all in the F minor scale. And moving on to the second half of the drop, I introduced a hi-hat because it's house. And then what I did was, this is quite an interesting thing you can do. This is the chords from the intro, but what I did was, I'll just take the chords again to demonstrate. This is the chords, and if you go to this tool thing, there's some really cool stuff you can do here. And I used arpeggiate, which is a really cool thing. I really like this about FL Studio. There's a whole arpeggiator, and I don't exactly remember. It looks like, wait, let me check. It looks 1, 3. I don't know. It's something you can use. And this is just on a. This is from an ARP preset. I think I just took the pluck off the ARP. So it's just the pluck that the ARP was played with, but I just took the ARP off because I wanted to make my own. Also, this is what it sounds like. That's obviously playing the chords. As you can see, if I just do something similar here, you turn out the time multipliers so to make it a bit faster. And the range down to... and all these ones you can do here. And I think the one I use might have been like... maybe 1, 3... No, that's definitely not it. Maybe 1, 3, 2. Yeah, that sounds like it. well, it's not. But anyway, yeah, there's many options you can use, and this is quite a cool way to evolve your chords. I'm thinking of doing a whole video, by the way, on just how to evolve ideas, like if you can have a chord progression, on like how I would turn it into more interesting things to progress the song instead of just keeping the same chord progression for different parts of the song. That's something I'm quite interested in. Something I enjoy about making music is taking ideas and sort of changing what I do with them. So leave a comment if you'd like me to do a video on that at some point. So I think we'll move on to the breakdown now, which is the intro, basically. Yeah, this is literally just the intro, but it introduces the chord thing with a vocal drop. This one seems to be untouched, and this one is, yeah, exactly same chord as like here, right side drop, and it eventually just, yeah, and it just plays this the whole time, eventually adding this, which is just a unfiltered version with the untouched one, I think, or wherever the, so, and there's another transition into a breakdown with this eagle screech sound. I thought that was quite cool. Okay. So for the breakdown, this is sort of what I said earlier about taking ideas and expanding them. There's a snap here. Pretty cool. So, yeah, if I just go into here. This is just the chords from earlier, but I chopped them up, so. And that's the same rhythm as the bass and the drop. And also I added just... Bruh Herb is now playing Game Lab. I added some notes on top, just to make it cool. My CPU does not like me doing this. And this is just the Reese from earlier. Still that, just to fill up the low end of the elf drop. And then what I did also was I took a more, or less wispy, sort of more hard, for want of a better word, pluck. Sounds like a square wave. And this is just the chords again. With the drop bass rhythm again. If I just, hopefully I remember. Actually, no, I'm not going to remember what I did. If I do that, that's and there we go. That's what I did with the chords of the intro, and then we move into this a bit more complicated bit. Should fill there. And so here's the drums. Very cool. So we start off with an impact. Here's the, in the background, there's another version of vocal drop which is up an octave now. And it's just playing the first little bit of the vocal drops. Also, the breakdown pattern evolves again. I think, yeah, there we go. This is what I did. I added the bass from the drop. As the start of every chord, I added a stab of that bass. I left it at the start of a note, so to give it the side chain, so it's a bit less heavy, because it's the off drop. So I think everything else is just the same. This is still going. And we move into another build-up, which is a bit different from the other build-up. And here's this thing. This is new. This is just the drop bass line, I think, with some note alternations on the square plug from earlier. And yeah, it's a stab again. And the build-up drums once again. Everything else is about the same, I think. And then we go into this fake out. With a reverse crash. And we introduce the hi-hat as soon as the drop starts here. Zap thing. I think everything's just the same from now on, yeah. And then at the end of the song, just because it sounds cool, doubt anyone's actually going to play this anywhere ever. But since a house song, this often happens. It's just a breakdown. It's just the drop, but with some elements taken out. Kind of regret leaving this ARP in. It makes it sound a bit too similar to the drop still. If I mute it, here's how it sounds. Obviously, it's got the ARP still, so. And then the end of the song is very simple. It's just the everything gets taken out except the vocals drop and the bass, and there's some transition effects just here. And I put a fruity cutoff on the master. That's a stereo from the build-up. It just completely cuts out to create quite cool like radio stoppy effect. And same thing happens. There's a white noise here. So I believe that is the entire song I've covered now. If there's anything that you've heard in this song that you would like to know about that I haven't talked about in this video, please feel free to like comment on the video. I will try and answer it if I remember, and if not, I'll check probably. Yeah, I think that's it. That's everything. Thank you for watching. Editing might be a bit sloppy on this because it's the first video on the channel. I need to kind of get used to making these kind of videos. But thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video, I guess. I'm not a YouTuber, I don't know what to say here. Bye.